Can you go out on a date with a friend who's in a relationship? Now, I just want to start off with everybody has their different ways of having their relationships. They have different regulations, their boundaries, and their desires. So this is completely up to you. But I just wanted to share a story that my perspective has changed over time from when I used to drink versus now that I'm sober. How? Well, that's because the relationships and the friendships that I have with women of the opposite sex are no longer like, ooh, they're hot, they're attractive, so therefore there's somebody that I want to pursue. In fact, it's the opposite. First, I start off a relationship with somebody where they're friends, and then if something grows out of it, something grows out of it. But if somebody who is in a relationship, then it no longer goes any further than that. When before it was almost like this forbidden fruit, like, ooh, this person is a mom, or ooh, this person's in a relationship. And it was like, ooh, you kind of want what you don't have. But instead it's more of like, okay, I know their partner and I have a respect for them, and I'm going to be there for this person as a friend, and that's it. So tonight I actually went to a comedy show with one of my friends, Leslie, and she's married, and she was actually getting this present of this comedy show for her partner, and forgot that he was going to be out of town. So I kind of like filled in. I was like the friend who filled in on a date, and we meet up every once in a while. But this time we decided to go out and like dress up nice and everything, and it was just beautiful to be able to be on this date with a friend sober, because when you're drinking, even though your intentions might not go down that route, and let's say you're attracted to the other person, your mind might start to go down that route because of the alcohol. And then, if one drink leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, who knows what's going to happen. And that's why I think a lot of people in relationships are selective with who their partner can be friends with. I think that's very interesting. It's like, okay, let's say there's a man and a woman and they're in a relationship, and the woman is, or the man has like friends that are women, and but now that in a relationship, the woman doesn't want the man to be friends with those women anymore. Or I've even heard it to the extreme of like, if somebody drinks a drink that's a man, then that woman cannot drink out of the same drink because their lips have been touching, like indirectly. And like I said, you want whatever relationship you want to have, is yours. I'm not judging, but I think it's interesting to diverge the man relationship with a man versus a man's relationship with a woman when it's one of the same. If there's a friendship there, then and you trust your partner, then why does it matter that their friend is a woman? Why does it matter? And then here's the second tier, right? Oh no, you could have friends that are a woman, but they can't be attractive, like, right, like they as long as they're not beautiful, then you could be friends with them. And I think it's so interesting how like we kind of have these conditions based off of what sex somebody is, and if they're good looking or not. And I just feel like that kind of comes from a space of restraint, right? Like no, like conditional restraint, where it's like, no, you can't hang out with them, but you can hang out with them. And then what in turn happens is this person's like, well, I want to be able to hang out whoever I want to hang out. So then they rebel against the energy. I feel like the more you get constrained, the more that, let's say, you're jealous of your partner hanging out with a certain person, then that makes the other person feel tied down, uncomfortable. And then I mean, I'm no relationship expert, but I'm just explaining you to this based off of my experience. Like when you feel restrained, you want to just break free and rebel. Like think about your parents, all the things they wanted you to not do, you did anyway, right? Because you wanted to rebel, you wanted to be an individual, you wanted to break the mold. And that's kind of what happens in these relationships. So I just feel like when you come in a relationship built off of trust and honesty and vulnerability, then they can, you're Like your partner can hang out with whoever they want to hang out with. And that was, that's why we were able to have this beautiful time today where we went out. I dressed up in my suit. She dressed up in a nice dress. We posed. People might have even thought we were together. And that's okay. Like, it doesn't matter. We had a great time. We parted ways, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should make a live about it because my 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 perspective is so different coming from a sober perspective versus a drunk, where the drunk's perspective is more of like I said, the forbidden fruit. Let's try to see what I can get out of this. Almost not consciously, it's just what happens. It's like the alcohol gets your brain and goes straight to the gutter. I don't know if anybody else have experienced that, but that's how it did for me. It was like one track mind. I'm a robot going straight for the kill. And when I'm sober, like I'm like, you know what? Like I actually really respect her partner, and that's not something that I want to do and deal with. No, I wanted to be able to support her and be there with her, have fun, and leave. So when you're coming from a sober perspective, you can be trusted more. That's another thing when it comes down to relationships. Maybe your partner is not trusting you because you're not to be trusted, because you might be relying on alcohol and social environments. And then when that stuff is in your system, it changes your perspective and it changes your critical thinking, and you make poor decisions based off of being drunk or drinking or buzzed. So I don't know if you guys have experienced any of this before, but to be honest, trust and honesty is like my number one thing that I like to build my relationships on. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and comment them down below. Thank you for commenting to that, Leela, for clarifying that. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your night. And just give your partner the freedom to be friends with whoever they want, as long as you can trust each other and know that you guys are together for a reason, and they can have friends with whoever they want to. Just might want to be careful with how much they're drinking around their friends, because you don't want them to do something that they don't really want to do. It's just that mindset that can change your normal thinking into more of a primal, animalistic thinking that can lead to a destruction of a beautiful relationship. So have a beautiful night, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.